Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to resolve a SQL not found, unable to find SQL database service message when you launch the MudPie Creations child check-in application. So if you launch the child check-in app and you see a unable to find the SQL database service message when you first start it up, then um, these instructions will help you resolve that issue. If you have a more generic message that simply says unable to connect to database, then this is the second tutorial in a series. So make sure that you look at the first step, the first video, so that you make sure that you rule out a much simpler solution. Okay, so if you get this message and you press the OK button, then the main screen will be displayed, but there will not be any data that's loaded. And you'll also have an unable to connect to database message in red at the bottom. And it will take longer to boot up than it normally does because it's not able to connect to the database. So you'll probably get a second unable to connect to database message. And then if you hit OK, everything is disabled. You can't click on anything but the setup button and the help button. Okay, if you click on the get help link here at the bottom, it will display the troubleshooting steps to resolve this. And so hopefully you've already checked out the first thing to check. There's a video for that. And we're now going to look at the second thing for is SQL 2014 installed. Okay, so we can close this window. You can also find those instructions that I just showed you on the MudPie website. So if you go to mudpiecreations.com and then go to the support page of our website, choose the child check-in tab, and then at the top you'll see the unable to connect to database message. Click here. So these are always the most current and up-to-date instructions for resolving this issue. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to the step 2 and we're going to follow along. So the steps that we're going to take here should only be done on the computer that is hosting the database. So if you have multiple check-in stations and they're all sharing one single database, then you should go to the computer that is hosting the database and perform these steps only on that computer. Okay, so whenever you get an unable to find the SQL service message that I had displayed at the beginning of this tutorial, or if you've done step 1 and you're unable to find the SQL Server MPC service listed in the services, then this means that for some reason the SQL install did not get set up properly during the child check-in install. So we're going to install SQL manually. So you may have purchased the Child Check-In app in one of two ways. So if you purchased it on a CD, then you can put in your CD, go to a File Explorer window, and navigate to your DVD or CD-ROM drive on your computer, the Tools folder here on the CD, and you'll find a file there called Install SQL. Okay, so if you purchase the software as a download file, then you don't need to re-download the install or find it on a USB drive that you may have placed there for safekeeping. All the files should be located on your computer. So just go to a Windows File Explorer window, go to Local Disk C, find Program Files x86, set up Child Check-In folder. There should be a folder there called Setup Child Check-In. Double click on that, and this looks exactly like the files that were on the CD. So we're looking for the Tools folder, and we're going to double click on that, and we're going to find a file there called Install SQL. and the type should be Windows batch file. Okay, so we're going to double click that to launch it, and a black command window will be displayed. Don't try to close that. It will close automatically when everything's finished. Okay, so it's going to ask you if you want Microsoft's SQL Server to make changes to your computer. You can choose the Yes button, and then choose the OK button to extract all the files to the default location. So again, just make sure that you don't close this command window. It's going to close automatically after the install finishes. Okay, after a minute or two, all the install files are extracted, and the install for SQL Server 2014 will launch automatically. Okay, on this very first screen is the license agreement, so you should check the I accept the license terms box and press the next button. And as you go through the installation wizard here, that's going to be the only change you're going to make. So just make sure that you check that box and then don't make any other changes as you go through this install. So it's going to perform a rule check to make sure that your uh, prerequisites and minimum system requirements are met, and hopefully you won't see any messages there. If so, you'll need to see what it says is which prerequisite is not met, and you can contact MudPie support if you have any problems deciphering what that says. Okay, so we're going to hit the next button. Okay, and then it very quickly did another rule check. If there were any issues with um, maybe something minimum system requirements not being met, then it would be listed there and it would not go onto the screen. And so if you had some kind of issue listed there, please read that. And if you need to contact MudPie support, please let them know exactly what that screen said. Okay, so we didn't have any issues, so we're not going to make any changes, and we're going to just press the next button. Again, we're not going to change the instance name. It has to stay exactly as it's filled in here so that it will be able to connect, and we're only going to press the next button. Okay, I'm making no changes. I'm only going to press the next button. Okay, on this screen, a lot of people think that they want to change the password that's already filled in here, but unless you would like to go through step 3 of this tutorial series, please don't make any changes. We need to just keep it exactly as it is here. It's super important that you make no changes. Just hit the next button only. Okay, and after that, the install for SQL will begin. This will take a few minutes, so I'm going to check back in with you when it completes. Okay, several minutes have transpired, and as you can see, the SQL Server installation has completed successfully. It has succeeded for the status on everything. Okay, so we're going to press the close button, and the black command window closed automatically. Okay, let's look at our instructions, and it says here that if you purchased after the install finishes, that you'll need to rerun the child check-in install to complete the installation. So if you already have your file window open to the tools folder, you can press the back button and that will take you up one level, and there you'll find the setup application. And so that will reinstall the child check-in install. So we're going to double click on setup. We're going to choose yes to allow it to make changes. And then we're going to make sure the repair option is selected and press the next button. So this will be a very quick installation. It's just going to configure the child check-in database for us, and it should be finished in a matter of seconds. Okay, it finished. So we're going to press the finish button to close the install. And then we're going to launch the child check-in application. And this time it successfully connects to the database and you're ready to start using the child check-in app.